Hello and welcome to TAL Radio. At TAL, we connect those who are willing to give to those who are in need. You're listening and watching to a wonderful series called Mindfulness. And whenever I say mindfulness, you know who's going to be the guest on my show. And today it's a very special topic because, we would be talking a lot about how you need to realize or probably find your potential and, of course, the art of letting go. But there's somebody whom I really don't want to let go, and that is Dr. Sampath. So, Dr. Sampath, welcome to TAL Radio.
Thank you, Sandy. As always, very exciting to be here.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So today this is all about, realizing one's potential and letting go. So let me just start by asking, that we as human beings, we really struggle with this very most important thing in our life, which is called letting go. Although we do know that things are so unnecessary, we just cluttered our life, but still we cannot let go. Why is that?
I think most of us are busy creating an identity in the first half of our life. And in the second half of our life, we are busy preserving them. So, and I think we all are very keen on telling who we are, what we are, and how we do things. And we go to any extent to hold on to it, not knowing what brought us here will not be able to take us there. What we did yesterday may not be what is going to work today. We don't look at every situation as unique, independent of the previous situation. And it's also very true. I remember having read a statement many years ago. You don't step into the same river twice. It's flowing. And we don't come across two identical situations. At least in one dimension, the situation is changing, which is time. Yet we want to respond to them from our own past. And that seems to be a kind of a formula for failure. So our ability to let go and be able to see each event, each context, each situation as independent is limited by our unwillingness to let go and trust the larger consciousness to be able to show us what is needed will come when it is required. We don't believe in that. We believe that our intelligence is more superior to the larger consciousness. So that's where we are, and we find it very difficult to let go. We hold on to so many things. And anyway, I think as we go on, we will explore much more deeper.
True. So, talking about letting go, do you feel that people often get confused or try to feel that if I let go, it would be equivalent to giving up? Are these same things or they are different? And if they are, then how?
They are completely different things. Giving up is accepting that you can't do anything. Letting go is saying that what I'm trying to work, the method is not working. Let me pause, and the right method will show up at some point of time, and I still can achieve what I've set out to achieve. But when I give up, I close the chapter. When I let go, I let the chapter be open. So they are entirely two different things. They are not the same thing. What do we mean by letting go? Letting go, maybe it's like it seems there's a man who had a Doberman for his pet and he loved it more than anything else. And somebody told him cod liver oil is good for dog's health. So he went and bought a bottle full of cod liver oil. And every day he would come home, hold the dog between his thighs and force a spoonful of oil into its mouth. The dog did not like this, but it loved the master. So as soon as he comes, the dog will go and hide under the sofa, but he would go catch him. One day when he was trying to force the oil into its mouth, it jumped and the oil spilled on the floor. To his surprise, the dog lapped up the oil that fell on the floor and came to lick the spoon. That is when he realized what the dog was resisting was not the oil, but the way it was being given. And many times we are stuck in the way of doing things. We don't want to let go. Because right from our childhood, we realize that medicine has to be thrusted down the throat. Need not. There are many ways of giving the oil to the dog. You could have left it in a bowl. You could have dipped the bread and given it to it. You could have mixed it with the food. You could have injected it. Any method is okay. But we are stuck with what we know. And we are rarely interested in discovering new ways of doing things. Because to be able to discover something new, you'll have to let go your... When I say let go, I'm not saying you should forget, I don't think any of us will forget anything. People say you'll have to unlearn. And I ask them, what do you mean by unlearn? Or you will have to not do the same thing the same way that you've been doing. I believe there are thousands of ways of doing everything or anything. And what is more important is, can I get the right thing, right way of doing in the right context? And can I believe that the right way will show up if I'm open? But if I insist on doing it my way, then obviously there is going to be a clash, conflict. Yeah, rarely the way you want to do and the way that is required is going to be the same. But if it is not the same, then we are in trouble. We don't get the required result.
Dr. Sampath, I really like, during our session, whenever you give an example, they're so relatable. It's like, I'm sure the people who are listening to us right now, but at what point of time they're listening to us. But if they listen to the example, I think they'll probably realize that this is in nutshell what this episode is all about. And the very beautiful example that you just gave up, you gave us. So moving on, I would really like to understand that, what is the role of fear, when we try to hold upon things? What is the role of fear here? And if it exists, how can we let that fear also go?
I will go one step deeper and respond to your question. There is no emotion on this earth which is dysfunctional. Like there is no spice in your kitchen which is not useful, but you should know how much to use where for you to get the ideal dish. Fear in a small quantity is required for us to deliver a better result. But fear, too much of fear, will make you dysfunctional. Confidence is required to be able to do what you do well, but overconfidence will lead to arrogance and a fall. So I think when we look at fear, many of us are stuck by the minute the fear crosses the limit, you're in the future, you're not in the present. What will happen if I don't get this? What will happen if she doesn't like it? He doesn't like it. You don't even know, you're imagining. So that excess fear leads to a lot of dysfunctionality. So are other emotions. I mean, too much of love can spoil a child.
Yes, true.
So therefore, I think it is important to know and to be able to be at the right level. You need to again be available in the present and not get carried away by the baggage you are holding.
All right. So, if I may ask you, like personally, it could be on a personal note that I would really like to know that has there been an instance in your life that you had to let go of certain things or whatever it was? And when you did, how did it reshape your life? What kind of rescheduling it did to your life?
I think I can go on with several illustrations, but I never believed in doing a PhD. But one day, one of my mentors, whom I had a lot of respect for, said, Sampath, I think you should do your PhD. And I asked him why. He said, Dr. Sampath will be louder than Sampath in the society. So therefore, you should be having a doctorate. I told him the work that I've done already is worth few doctorates. Why is this label important? We had a conversation. Then I said, okay, I will not hold on to it. I'll go do one. And I did. And he was right, particularly when you are in international forum, your doctorate seems to be having some value. So you seem to be heard more than otherwise you would have been heard. But there are, I think I keep on learning. And I will give you another live example. I used to have fear of heights. So if I'm standing on a 12th floor of a building at the edge and looking down, my knees would jerk and I would definitely feel a little discomfort. And this was when I was hardly 21, 22. And I decided I'll go and jump from the aircraft to the parachute.
Really? Oh, wonderful.
I'm a trained paratrooper. Sometimes you'll have to confront things on the face of them. And that's possible when you're willing to let go everything. Let's see what happens. And that's when a new reality unfolds and you begin to see that the fear was maybe too unfounded. So therefore, I mean, it helped me later in all my travels. I love taking a window seat. And when you travel to many countries, the kind of views you get to see and they are so beautiful. Till then, that was not not that I was flying before that enough, but it helped me. So there are many such things. I let go my job when I had nothing in my hand. I was minus 50,000. So sometimes we cling to things, we hold on, not realizing that the other side of the world is as good as the world that you are on this side, provided you're willing to make that effort to move to the other side and see what is there. But many of us imagine, what if I don't get to see what I need on the other? Many of us prefer the comfort zone. the known territories.
Sure.
And I think that is what limits possibilities for us. When you cling to known territories, when you cling to your comfort, when you cling to your existing norms. Last episode, I remember I spoke about a book called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I think
True.
the sequel lets go so many things just to learn what real flying means. So if I'm not ready to let go, and if I'm not willing to try something new, I think I'm only hurting myself, and I don't end up realizing my potential at the end of the day.
Realizing your potential, as what you mentioned at just, couple of seconds back. We have often heard, people telling us in our normal lives also that, you're not realizing your potential. You can do much better. What does it really mean? I mean, are we like underestimating ourselves?
If we all would have limited our potential, and the age-old saying is human potential is unlimited. I don't think we would have had an aircraft if people wouldn't have realized their potential. They thought, yes, flying should be possible. Or there are so many things that we wouldn't have discovered had we believed that this is all life is all about. We would have been in Stone Age. So therefore, if we are where we are, and today we are in an AI world, where do you think somebody would have believed that we can have a machine think for us? We are today talking about deep learning, machine learning, and we say that hey, machines can perform most of the tasks that are routine, which means what are you going to do? So therefore, I think our potential is unlimited. Each of us are capable of many things, but for our own limitation that we have created for ourselves. I wrote many years ago, I'm caged in the cage I'm made. And I don't even, that seems to be an invisible cage. All my beliefs, all my conclusions about the world, all my thoughts, they all are limiting. I grew up in a very humble background in a village. My parents didn't go to school much. Father was a tailor, mother was a housewife, and grew up grazing cows. And at that point of time, if somebody would have asked me, would you ever write a book in your life? I would have laughed at them. Me writing a book? Impossible. The goal was just finish your studies, get a job, start seeing some money in your hand. But I think one was willing to let go all those conclusions about oneself and say, why not? Why I can't write a book? And why I should not write a book? Is it somebody's privilege and not somebody else's privilege? I think people dare not ask such questions to themselves, unfortunately. And if you dare, you will definitely see that you can realize a lot more of yourself.
Very true. In fact, I really feel it's some kind of a therapy session that I'm into. And in fact, all the people who are listening to us must be feeling that because your words are really like, they at least, they sound like magical words at the moment, at least I can say. It's like a spell that I have on me as of now. So moving on, I would really like to understand, are there any kind of daily practices or exercise that, people can, focus upon, or probably, they can inculcate into their daily lives, and which can help them to, understand their own potential?
I there is nothing called as 10 rules to nirvana or 10 rules of letting go. I think each of us need to be mindful of what is limiting us. I don't think people ask such questions very often to themselves. What is limiting me as a person? Why? And this, what is limiting me, is not in one sphere of life. You have to ask that in your work, in your relationships, in your life, in anything that you're doing. What is limiting me? And if you genuinely try to answer, it's your own upbringing, your own thinking, your own belief system, your own ways of looking at things, your perspectives. And are these perspectives or are these beliefs universal? Are they very contextual? I don't think we ask such deep questions to ourselves, and therefore we get stuck. I used to make a very jovial statement. First half of my life, I'm busy making conclusions. The remaining half, I'm busy proving them. And every time I proved one, I pat myself and I said, I told you so. Not realizing how hard I worked to make my conclusions come true and to keep preserving my identity. I think one of the things that each of us should do is, our identity is unlimited. We don't need to get restricted by who we think we are or who others think we are. That's a good input to work upon and to move on to the next level. But if we get stuck with and cast ourselves in a mold, then it's difficult to break out of it. And that becomes a limitation by itself. We also need to, I think, learn how to move forward than be stuck wherever we are. If something is not working, can I look at another way to do that? And if that is not working, can I look at another way to do that? I think that's very important. But many of us keep on doing the same thing. And when they fail, the scapegoat they look for is others. Why are you not doing the best? Oh, it's my marriage. Oh, it's my no lack of support. Oh, it's this. I don't think it is that. I don't know how to overcome these constraints. So, and why I'm not able to overcome those constraints is because I'm not willing to let go what I'm used to. If I'm willing to let go, I will move forward for sure.
And talking of letting go once again, do you feel that, when we let go of something, it really brings us a little bit more closer to personal freedom as well? Like, does it freeze us or gives independence in a way?
You brought this question maybe a little early in this conversation, but let me tell you a beautiful story. It seems on the riverbed of Ganges, there are a village of creatures whose lifestyle was to cling to the rocks on the riverbed. They're born clinging, they live clinging, they die clinging. One creature said, I'm bored of this clinging, I'm going to let go. And immediately his friends complained to his parents and said, this guy wants to let go the rock that he's clinging to, like us. He should be mad. And the parents scared him, saying that the current of the river will upturn you, bruise you, kill you. You can't. We all are born clinging, we live clinging, we die clinging. He got scared, he clung a little more, and then not for too long because his resolve to let go was very strong. So one day he took a deep breath, let the rock that he was holding on to. He got bruised by the current, but the same current lifted him up and he was floating freely. Creatures beneath, looking at him floating freely, started hailing, hey, here is a Mahan, here is a great soul which has come to save us. Looking down, he said, I'm not a great soul, I'm not a Mahan. All that I did was I left everything I was clinging to. We all are clinging. We all are holding on to what we are holding on to so tight that it freezes us and takes away our freedom. If we can let go and move on in life, see different possibilities. I believe at one level, the Gen Z and the current generations are exploring and they're not limiting themselves by the old set of rules. But at the same time, I'm also worried it is happening at a very shallow level, not at a deep level. If the freedom that they're enjoying is true and they are willing to work deeper with themselves, this generation is already on the path of self-discovery and realizing their potential. They don't fear much. They don't fear leaving a job. They don't fear getting into a relationship. They don't fear many things, which is important to let go. But then I think if you are not going to realize your potential or realize and understand what you're entering into at a deeper level, then much of your learning, much of your experiences become very shallow. That is the danger of letting go without really understanding what you're letting.
All right. Moving on, Dr. Sampath, for example, there's somebody who's actually trapped in a certain kind of mindset and is not able to let go. What is that one piece of advice would you, give to such people who are listening to us at the moment?
I don't even know if I can give an advice to somebody like that, but I would definitely do if I'm trapped. In fact, it's a natural process for me that when I see a repetitive behavior of mine which is becoming dysfunctional, I break it and I consciously decide not to do it or break away and try something else. So that is something that I will recommend for others because this is what I have done with my own life. And many of us have repetitive patterns which are dysfunctional, which don't seem to make sense. It's like you just need to go one layer below. When somebody says to me, I don't understand them, or I don't really seem to know what's going on, I think it is important for me to realize that I need to first understand even before responding. So this is very tricky, very easily said because there is so much of emotion, other baggages that you carry in that relationship. It's not easy to walk away, and also, I think it is if you this example that I'm going to bring could be very funny or very, but I think it'll help us learn. So therefore, it is important to share.